Okay. Alrighty. That is some of the new Ariel Pink that just came out today on Halloween. Very apropos of Ariel, who is seems to be quite the fan of Halloween. We wanted to make this video to talk about the scary potential outcome that could come on November 5th, election night. The night that we will probably not know by the media standards who the victor is for the 2024 presidential spot. And that's a scary thing already as it is. But what's even more scary than that, Xvala?
That's plenty scary.
It's plenty scary, but the scarier thing is the fact that we are staring down the barrel tonight on All Hallows Eve that Kamala Harris could become the next president of the United States. Like that is terrifying. You know, I need to play some spooky music just to get that. Just to make that even more.
So break it down. Why are you like what have you been researching that makes you want to say that?
Well, so there's a couple of things that people are trying to put out into the ether right now, and one of them is probably just the most egregious and obviously biased Democratic campaign inserted into pollster data map by the man, what's his name? Alan Lichtman. You know that guy?
We were just... Oh, yeah. So he's not going to change his prediction because he's 70-something years old. And if he had changed it in 2016, then Trump would have lost that guy.
Right.
Yeah, to be honest, that kind of gaslit me a little bit when I saw that today.
Yeah, I think that don't worry, I have another map.
There's nothing scientific about his ideas.
There's nothing scientific about his ideas, and there's a lot more reason that goes into another map that I'm going to show you guys. But look at this. This is a scary map that this guy thinks is going to happen. Like, how can this possibly even correlate? Like, how is Georgia and North Carolina going to go? Like, that is preposterous to me. I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, Trump could lose Pennsylvania more likely than even North Carolina and Georgia. That to me was really bizarre. I don't know if that's very visible for you or people.
He's saying Pennsylvania's a toss-up. Well, I mean, that's kind of why Trump's been so heavy there. That's why totally. Elon's been there for what, a week or more.
Mm-hmm.
We were there. We were there for the Butler thing.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense why anyone's map might put Pennsylvania as a toss-up. That's like less. That's not the part that really stands out. But to me, Georgia and North Carolina, that just seems kind of preposterous to me. I don't know what that's based on. But this guy obviously, I think, like you're saying, he's old and a bit stuck in his ways.
Well, he says as much in this video, I think.
Yeah. And also, the other thing is red for Nevada and Arizona. Like, I'm sorry, but my money is on Georgia and North Carolina going red. And then I think Arizona has a good chance of going red. But the likelihood of Nevada and Arizona both being red, to me, that is more preposterous than the idea of North Carolina and Georgia going blue. You know what I mean? Like that almost seems like it was shoehorned in there because Nevada has less electoral votes. So it's like, yeah, let's just give him the southern state or the western states. You know what I mean? That almost seems like he was sort of like.
Do you want to listen to some of what he's saying?
Splitting hairs.
Were we gonna play some of it or?
I didn't have his video pulled up. But
okay.
I'll pull that up in a second. Actually, that won't be too hard. But I wanted to throw in another map though that looks honestly a lot closer to what election night could look like in my view. I can try to make that a little bigger, but like like realistically, like if
Wait,
if it's not,
whose map is this?
I don't know whose map this is, but this is just one that I found online that
I hope it's not this close, because we're showing PA going blue. I mean, is this based on like 2 weeks after the actual election? Because some of these. Go ahead.
This would be like after election night. I mean, this is someone's prognostication. I'm not saying I agree with it entirely, but I think that this looks a lot more realistic, and that's just not my. That's not even my Trump confirmation bias.
So what are the states that are saying? What are the states that are saying they're going to have late reporting? So it's PA
the states that are going to have late reporting
Michigan,
is
right?
Probably Michigan, Pennsylvania.
So they're blue already.
Wisconsin's going to be late. It's going to be 3 a.m. probably.
But those two are blue already. Wisconsin is. I don't see Wisconsin.
So okay, this chart actually has Michigan
red
going blue, and then Wisconsin going red. So that's.
Wisconsin's not as big as Michigan, though.
I mean, it doesn't seem likely to me that Trump's going to lose all three of the northern states. That seems kind of crazy to me at this point.
Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is, even if PA and Michigan are late reporting, so this map's accounting for that. So there's no surprises here. I'm just seeing how feasible this breakdown would be.
Well, he wins in Georgia and North Carolina.
Is Virginia really going to go blue?
It could, and likely will, because Virginia has ballot harvesters standing outside of poll stations.
How did Youngkin win?
Because I think that Virginia does have like a red, does have a tendency to go red if the conditions are right for it. And Youngkin had all the favorable conditions of being a quote unquote not toxic, Republican, just kind of like a business guy, really good in business. And also he was campaigning on the school boards, like basically reining the schools back in. Sorry.
So it was like a super local competition for that seat.
Yeah, it was very much like people were voting with their best interests in mind more so. And that's how, obviously, this country, women included, some Democratic voters that just haven't quite gotten a grasp of reality on certain things. Like, that's how they would all vote with their best interests if it turned into a scenario where it became too late, i.e. people's immediate safety is at harm or risk. Then it's kind of like what's happening in the UK, with the riots and people just now coming to terms with the cultural encroachment, that's ongoing there. And it's one of those situations there where it's too late. That is the Halloween special, only it's in real life, for those people living over there.
I'm surprised Nevada's only got 9. That's shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, Nevada's not a...
Oh, 6. Excuse me, 6. I read that upside down. Dyslexia.
Nevada's not a very high populous state, so I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of mail-in voting that goes on in Nevada because people live so far away.
Wait, they have Nebraska. The blue. I don't think the little blue thing's gonna go blue because they changed the law. I thought Charlie Kirk worked on getting that changed. That the popular vote wins all of Nebraska. Is that not fixed?
Remind me of what happened there. I don't really know. Is there? It has
to do with electors assigned to the winner.
Oh, gotcha. Well,
I thought they changed it to winner. We might want to look that up, but I think it was changed to winner take all in Nebraska. So,
let me see. I actually don't pay attention to Nebraska that much.
Well, they were thinking it could be close enough that one little area could tip the scale.
Yeah, let's see. Mike McDonnell announced he would not support the change. Nebraska and Maine are the only 2 states that award a single electoral college vote to the winner in each congressional district, plus 2 votes to the statewide winner of the presidential popular vote. Nebraska has split off votes twice in 4 presidential elections. I see. Yeah. Yeah. Now I remember all this. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that does play a part into how the author of this map came to these conclusions, but I do think that for my purposes of reading this, GA and North Carolina, to me, definitely have the propensity to swing right, because I just think that what happened in Georgia in 2020 was really kind of a fluke. But I'm interested to bring up the Alan Lichtman. Was it on X or was it on YouTube? Do you know?
I think it might have been in my YouTube feed, but I don't remember. X is probably better to pull from.
Let's see.
This
was just an hour ago.
Probably be a shorter, more up-to-date edit on X.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it on X. I'm just seeing screenshots on X.
Check under video.
Yeah, so what do you think of all this so far?
I was telling you earlier, I think I heard the best description of how things could go wrong, really wrong, on the by AJ today, where he said it's more about, if you're playing poker, it's about upsetting the poker table. So then it creates such chaos, nothing can be determined discernibly, and we have to say well, we can't really just do what we should do because we don't know what we should do. This is all just a mess. So we're going to keep, Joe Biden in power maybe, and we'll let the local not canvassers, but the local, what do you call it? The local ballot counters and things like that. They're just going to have to look at the late votes, and I'm not really expressing this, but basically just make such a mess out of the results that it's going to be an argument. It's going to have to be an argument that really nobody could win.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to have the sharpest elbows, like the Mark Elias, you were just talking about that. Whoever wants to have the hardest fought legal battle, set it up where they would end up determining the next president, and probably a lot of the Senate and House races as well.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, so I have the Lichtman video pulled up, and let's see if I can minimize this map real quick and bring up this video. I think this is where he's going to get into how he marked up the western states.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right?
All right.
On election day, you may have family issues, health issues, work issues, bad weather. You might just decide it's not worth it. There's going to be a fall off for those who claim, we're going to vote on election day, probably as large as 10%.
Can you hit pause?
So I would say North Carolina leans blue.
Yeah.
You were just telling me Georgia's 50% reported?
Yes.
So there goes part of his little theory right there. Doesn't count for one of those main states.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fact that Georgia's 50% reported is a pretty big deal, because a lot of Republicans are early voting this time. And so we can't just look at that. In 2020, we'd look at that 50%, we would say, oh no, because far, far fewer people were going to physical locations to place their ballots early. But far more people, both Democrats and Republicans, are early voting. But at least we know that, I think we can safely say Republicans are voting early in droves.
Here in Oklahoma County, which most of these people are going to be voting for Trump and probably straight Republican. Yesterday, early voting, it was packed. I could hardly get a parking spot. But once I did, and I walked into the polling area, the line was just past the building for like a block. And I talked to people, and they're all warning me, hey, it's really busy. And so I get there, and it's 3 hours. That was yesterday. Today, it was longer, more than 3 hours. This is just early voting. And probably mostly Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was really weird whenever I went to go vote. There were people that were handing me sample ballots at the door. And that was just pretty uncool. I did not appreciate that.
Is that legal?
I think that they have legal loopholes. I think that they probably find a way to like stand far enough away from the doors to say that they're not actually within the no-go zones for canvassing and things like that. But I suspect that,
You know what I think it is? I think they know they're in Soros areas that aren't going to be prosecuted, so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. No,
Just a theory.
I mean, Arlington, where I voted, is a very blue area. So, I mean, it makes sense. I'm wearing blue right now, but that's kind of the joke. If you've gotten this far and you're mad at us because you think we're saying Kamala's going to win, please don't misinterpret us because we don't want that to happen. But
no,
we're
it's a Halloween special. It's like spooky.
Yeah, it's supposed to scare you into voting. So go out and do that if you haven't already. But yeah, I want to get more into this Lickman video, see where he goes with this.
North Carolina leans blue. All right. So right now we're at Kamala at 267 and Trump at 219.
Right. Georgia. Also more than half of the votes already in, 3.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Women 56%, men 44%. It's a huge lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Georgia leans blue.
Really?
And all these states are going to go blue. I mean, these are.
See, this is what's going to get you guys calling me a pussy in the comments because I told you guys to vote early. But this is so true. Is that men vote on election day? It's like Christmas shopping. Men go Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve, isn't that right?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes.
Exactly. It's like such a bro-y thing. So I think that this is a little bit like this is how he's rationalizing the fact that we don't know like which way people are voting, but we do know the demographics. So we're going off of trends that every single woman, or like an abundance of women that are voting are all casting votes for Harris. They're all doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge at the ballots with their gal friends. I can call him this tonight. Actually, I can't because it's November
Does he
1st.
disclose who he's voting for?
I was gonna call him witches.
Does Lickman say who his candidate is? I mean, if he's going to do this analysis, he should tell us who there is a bias. I can tell. I mean, I would almost guarantee you he's voting for the Democrat.
Yeah, he's not voting. He's not casting his vote for Harris. He's casting his vote for the Democrat.
Right. It's just my vibe. That's just my take on it. So like, just disclose it, and we'll add that into our analysis of your take.
He might say it, but it's an hour-long video, and I don't want to go back through it. But
I don't want to.
Very narrow.
Right.
I'm more confident, frankly, that Texas and Florida will go red than in these other states will go blue. All right, Arizona.
What?
Wait, hold on 1 second. If this falls as is, Kamala wins. She's already past the 270 mark.
Without even Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Arizona.
Yeah.
1.7 million ballots, not half, but close.
Right.
And the gender divide is much closer. 48% women, 43% men, 9%.
Wait, hold on, Kalen.
Right.
So let's disclose something here.
Arizona probably leans ever so slightly red.
Do you know his criteria? His criteria, there's 4 elements, and they're kind of very interpretive. They're not based on any sort of like polling digging through the numbers and polling. It's like his own criteria.
It's his vibes.
Yeah, it's his vibes.
Yeah. I mean, that's why all this stuff is like kind of.
But I mean,
fake.
If you don't know this, if you're just listening to him, it's like he's dug through the predictions, dug through the like precinct level predictions, and figured out how the chips are going to fall. But he hasn't. He's just going off this like set of criteria that he's developed. That's very like I don't know, like what is it when you get your palm read? Like
let's see his track record. I actually don't know what it is. Let's see.
Even that's deceiving because it really doesn't break down how his predictions are arrived at. So I'm going to just say that this guy is just another media talking head, no matter what his predictions say.
He garnered attention for his gutsy call of Trump in 2016. Some critics say the prediction was wrong because Trump lost the popular vote, but Lichtman said he had switched to predicting who would become president and was correct. In the media, he was widely credited with the correct 2016 prediction.
I heard him say that Harris fell behind in the polls exactly at the same spot Barack Obama did. Here's the thing. I don't believe the Obama election was straight up. That's my belief. You guys believe whatever you want. I remember how miserable the country was, how divided people were. Obama had done that to the country, inserting race into everything. The economy was terrible. Now, the Republican candidate was awful. Romney was awful. Nobody wanted Romney, but I just figured people were so miserable and so tired of Obama that there was no way he was going to win. I remember being at Cheesecake watching the results and I was thinking, how is this happening? So I think that was the first time I felt like there was something up with our elections. Maybe if you take it back to Gore and Bush, that seemed weird too. But I'll just say that election seemed weird. And so I just don't know that the models, I think the models that are being used are not reflect the system's off. So I don't know how the models are supposed to work when the system's off.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Another thing too is like, think about how much value he has to have accurately predicted 2016, and so many people have made media careers off of being pro-Trump and anti-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have this kind of like quasi guru sort of like Nostradamus sort of like pedestal that you put this person on, you suddenly attach a lot of value to him, because Lichtman can go out on September 5th and be like, Kamala's going to win. And I've used my models, the same ones I, relied on in 2016 to get it right, to to get this outcome as well. And so people, it's kind of like it's my brainstorming that I do about betting markets, and it's this like thought experiment that like, if you can get the betting markets to have a very high track record for success, then it becomes a sort of chicken and an egg situation of like, okay, 5 years from now, the betting markets, let's just say, have been scary accurate. And it gets to a point where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, well, people are putting their billions and millions like into these bets. And so suddenly the winner starts gravitating toward wherever the money's going. And it always has the benefit of the doubt of being a coincidence, but in some ways it gives people motivation to try to manifest things. And we know things can't just be manifested, right? But money is the closest thing that we have toward, the concept of like manifesting. And it's not even manifesting, it's just throwing money at something that may or may not work, kind of like, I mean, the RNC does it too. They put a lot of money in election litigation. hoping to get some success, because they know that the chips are stacked against them when it comes to these voting rules that allow all these sketchy ways of voting overseas and things like that. The list goes on. So
okay, I actually pulled up his criteria. Do you want me to show it real quick?
yeah, go for it.
Hold on. There we go. Can you see that? There we go.
Kind of. Let me see if I can pull it up.
So number one, you want me going tighter?
Yeah, try to zoom in tighter. That's better.
Party mandate. So let's go through these real quick. After midterm elections, the incumbent party, Democrat, holds more seats in the U.S. House of Representatives than after previous. Is that true? I guess they gained a few.
This is the criteria though for like predicting an outcome.
This is his criteria that's on Wikipedia. Yes.
Yeah. So this is so this is true.
Let me go
It's
up.
like-
Let me go up real quick just so you can see.
It's like this is how you get the forecast, or this is like the multi-step equation toward getting the forecast.
And so this is specific to the White House. Keys to the White House are also known as 13 keys. Prediction system determining the outcome of presidential election in the United States, developed by Alan Lichtman. Okay. No primary contest. Well, that was especially true with Kamala. That's probably the truest that's ever been. I don't understand how this would really make any difference.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the no primary contest one is so weird. Like, so yeah, I mean, she automatically fits that one, but it's like kind of like a technicality.
The economy is not in
that's
recession.
The thing is like, does this model account for what is the absolute technicality of Harris running unopposed because of the situation that?
And the no third party is kind of an out the window deal because it's been collapsed into the MAGA movement. So I mean, it's the guy, is he autistic? I mean, you got to have some flexibility here. It can't just be like Judge Wapner at 6 o'clock and that's it.
Yeah, we just got a 13-minute Jake Paul
yes, amazing
endorsement today that was like really well thought out. We should probably like pull that up because that was like crazy.
We should. But this no third party, I think I have to just take that out of this equation here because it's obviously this. Okay, this was a moment. Let's put this back on screen real quick. This was a moment where we saw a Democrat, let's say high profile Democrat at the national level, switch. I would go as far as to say, what do you call it? When it's your family, like when it's coming from your family's ancestral Democrats have changed to the MAGA movement. That's Kennedy. And then you have people like Gabbard. You know, a lot of people look to her because she was such a strong Democrat candidate. She came over to the MAGA movement. So this third party leg has been collapsed or like grafted into the MAGA movement. So it's actually more historical than his model accounts for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, to me, it's history making that what happened. It's almost like it's the end of the boomer influence on major American policy because it's shifting. There's a realignment into a MAGA movement. Anyway, we can go ahead.
Well, it's like, we talked about this a little bit ago. You know, the alternative outcome, you know, there's, you know, I guess like a binary, even though it's not a true binary, but I think that it's like you can, you know, subtracting entropy from the equation, like you kind of have two outcomes with it that are going to take us through the fourth turning that we're currently in right now, which we don't really, because of our relativity to being in the fourth turning, we can't really tell if we're currently on the exit ramp or if we still have some ways to go through this period. Which
in theory, according to what Neil Howell's currently saying, the fourth turning would last to like 2033. So in theory, we're just entering the zenith, the high point, or like the low point of it, whatever you want to look at. You know, some sort of major conflict nationally, internally, or externally is about to happen.
And can you elevator pitch fourth turning for people who are listening to this? So that
It's a generation. Yeah, it's a generational pattern that happens every 80 to 100 years. That there's generational archetypes or personalities, and there's 4 of them, and they play out like a season, like like winter, spring, summer, and fall. And right now we would be in the fall. So we're going through a major change, a time of upheaval, and who arises at a fourth turning are the prophets, the prophet generation. And Donald Trump, he is of the prophet generation, being born after 1945. And they were also the boomers. So that boomer archetype, they sort of lead the country through this time of crisis. That's their role, until a new order is established. Not like New World Order, but just a new political alignment, so that America can fill out what the new rules are going to be going forward. And I mean, to me, we've seen a lot of positive things happen with the Supreme Court. And you see like Robert Kennedy coming over to the Republican or the MAGA movement. So I feel like some of this realignment we've actually witnessed. Now, I don't know where it's going to go from here. This could just be setting up for some other big event, but we're just entering this moment, this event, where event horizon where things are we're going to change and America's going to realign in some new direction.
Right. And you would think that with everything we know about Trump and his plans for the world and to make it a better place and to make costs go down, you would think that, Trump would make sense to be that prophet generation figure that is the one to take us through this period of unrest. But what if it's not him? And what if it's actually Harris and sort of the real, leader?
She would be the false prophet.
She'd be like the false prophet.
She is marginally from the prophet generation, but Trump, if you look at the fruits of his labors, he's got people from the Gen X generation joining him in his leadership. You've got Elon Musk. You've got even Joe Rogan to some effect. I think that he was way more in line with how Trump has behaved during this campaign. So you're getting the survivor mentality, the tough personality of a Gen Xers who have never really had political identity coming into the fray and saying we're more MAGA. And to me, this is just leadership. You're seeing somebody who's manifesting like his own movement. So to me, it's Trump. It's obviously Trump. I don't know what Kamala's role would be, just a false prophet. I don't even know what her message is.
Well, allow me to paint you an even scarier tale than the one that we've been talking about this entire time. And it's the tale of Harris winning, but she also gets the Senate, and maybe she even gets the House. And maybe that creates the perfect storm or the imperfect storm where the Democrats finally have their abilities to codify Roe, to pass bills putting unstoppable ethics codes on the Supreme Court that are meant to get them taken off of important cases, and then also expanding the court to add more justices to offset the current majority.
To put it simply, they would try to outlaw MAGA. That's what they would do.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone would be so supportive of it because they would say, we need to hit the reset button. Trump got 3 justices. That's improbable odds. That's statistics. And
let me add to what you're saying. So the reason what you're saying actually has weight is the millennial generation is of a more collectivist mindset. And they are of a mold that comes along and says, we will get behind this new direction for America. And that's the scary thing. That's the Like, we don't know how things will go. We didn't know before World War II that we were going to end up going in the direction we did. We thought things were going to go in a more, it looked like things were going to go in a more socialist, they were messing around with communism and socialism and fascism in America in the 30s after the crash. But after World War II, that all went away, except in Hollywood. They kept doing it. But, so I'm just saying, like, this, yeah, you're right. The millennials could come in and say, well, we're now all Harris stands, and we're going to go with what the Democrat Party's pushing. We're going to stack the Supreme Court. We're going to outlaw MAGA. We're going to, he, him, she, it, whatever for everyone. And it could just be a whole different paradigm for America. We could split.
We're going to begin. If it doesn't start in the next 4 years, we're gonna put the seeds in place to start the next World War. That's the scariest one.
I mean, World War is one of the things that, if you look at the American Revolution, that was sort of it was an outside power, but it was almost like a civil war also. We had World War II that was about 80 years later. Civil War, excuse me. Civil War came up, after another fourth turning. And then we had the World War II, was it the other fourth turning, and now we're here. So, I'm kind of hoping that our challenge is to fight the information war. Like, this is a new type of war, fifth generational warfare. And our challenge is going to have to be to, like, not collectively commit suicide as a country over ideas, as opposed to, like, bullets and bombs.
Yeah. Like, imagine this too. Here's a scarier one that involves Trump actually winning. Is imagine they picked Harris because they wanted her to lose so that they could basically forfeit the match, get a purported or alleged dictator back in office, and create this revolution from within. Because Trump wants to get rid of, like, all of the legacy bureaucrats and things like that in Washington.
Doge, Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah, he wants to do that. So, like, what if, like, the government employees don't go along with his plans, like they, like, stage a strike or something like that. I don't know.
Mark Elias comes up with some scheme as to how legally, it's not allowed what Trump's going to do, or who knows.
So, sorry, I keep looking back over it. Got my camera, like, right in front of my screen, so it's just hard to see my whole screen.
Do you want me to pull up the rest of those 13 or no?
Yeah, or do you want to keep watching his? Oh no, but we're gonna watch the Jake Paul endorsement. We'll end on a light
let's
note,
do that.
Because that was today. But I just wanted to reiterate that we're not blackpilling here on the Meme Ranch, but we're merely spinning a spooky weave or tale to encourage you all to go vote, because it's super easy. And men
vote for the greatest meme ever that's ever been. MAGA. Vote for that.
Men don't vote. Like, I was saying earlier that they only vote on election day, but they're actually, like, I don't know what it is. I think it's because, honestly, like, on the right especially, telling people to vote is super gay. It's like one of the gayest things you can say or do. So I've put myself on the line by saying it multiple times tonight. But yeah,
it's super badass. You should do it.
Super manly. You should really go vote. No,
really super important.
No, we have to be post-democracy. We have to be post-democracy.
No, that's stupid. We don't want to be post-democracy. That's what the Democrats want us to be. Don't fall for their.
We're just too post-democracy to engage in the gay electoral process.
I love how Elon has come over and gone full. What is it? Full dark MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More accusations.
And so has Jake
turmoil.
Paul.
more division.
It's rocking the
potentially.
Abraham Lincoln.
However, I just want to provide information to the potentially undecided voter, the things that I have seen over the past couple of years that have led me in a certain direction as to who I am supporting in this presidential election. And most of all, encouraging y'all to actually vote, encouraging y'all to actually do your own more. And it saddens me that in the current political state of the world in America, people can't have opinions without outrageous backlash. And I truly believe we can all agree on that things just don't feel right. America doesn't feel good. It shows that we are more divided than ever. And I can't sit back and watch this blasphemy unfold in front of me any longer. What is the problem? Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. So if we aren't happy with the current political state, economic state, environmental state, then who is to blame? Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate, has even said this himself.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
We can't have 4 more years of this.
The stupidest
Even Tim
thing.
says there needs to be change.
Oh
And
my
he's
gosh.
right. We need to change from Kamala Harris to the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. Tim, I remind you that your running mate, Kamala Harris, is vice president, currently in the office, and hasn't done anything while she's in office.
He's going to run
Basically,
for
no
president
accomplishments.
someday.
Let's start with a chart of inflation during the Biden-Harris term. Their overall
Yeah, he
inflation
will.
is 20.2%.
I mean, wasn't Conor McGregor like floating with office too in
Ireland, yeah.
Ireland?
No, I could totally see Jake Paul running for, I mean, if we can make it that far. But he would definitely, he's sort of a Trump figure, you know? He's just like outrageous in his younger years.
It's kind of crazy though, because it got more views on X. It probably did, but this video is only at 186 views today. 100.
It's probably gotten clipped a lot.
It's probably gotten clipped a lot, and it's probably getting shadow banned on YouTube. Honestly, because that's what they were doing to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
To the Trump-Pence administration with an overall inflation of 6.7%, statistically 14% better while Trump was running the economy. As you can see in every category, energy, gasoline, rent, and food, the numbers are exponentially lower and the lowest of the past 30 years of presidents. Again, regardless of your emotion, I'm just presenting you with facts. Do I think Donald Trump is a perfect human being? No, I don't think anybody on this planet is a perfect human being, myself included. Don't judge people off of a character that the media has portrayed them to be, because Democrats control 90% of the US media, so they will.
I didn't really want to show the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny. This guy is I think he's making fun of this editing on Jake Paul's video. It's it's so YouTuber of him to do all those jump cuts, and the fact he keeps looking at the camera
At least better when you do it, Galen.
Yeah, look at that transition. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that this is Trump's posse, Trump's crowd is very unique and interesting this year, because there's so many people who have put their neck out for him that if he loses, they're gonna feel really, not embarrassed, but they're gonna feel just detached. I think because
no, I don't think so. But
you don't think so?
No, and not that you're wrong. I think normally you would be wrong, but I think this is beyond Trump. I think Trump started a movement. He started a new idea, MAGA. And he didn't do it on his own. You know, he had to we had to go through COVID. We had to go through the election, that weird election we had in 2020. We had to go into the response of it. We had to go through 4 more years of Biden and Harris. We had to go through 2 assassination attempts. And it's taken on this force. And I think no matter what happens with Trump, this thing is going to continue.
Yeah, the momentum and the optics and all of the crazy events that happened this election cycle for Trump, it would be such a shame and I I don't like that ending. I don't think it's a good ending. It's like what the director did with Joker 2 and everyone hated it. It's like the idea that the Trump saga ends with him in courtrooms until he eventually gets like sentenced to jail. It's like, look what happened with Young Thug today. Can we talk about that for a second? We just saw a guy who basically like spent years in jail and eventually his like longest, criminal trial that ever happened there. And all of a sudden he gets into this plea deal and he's free. Like time served, He was going to spend like 20 plus years in jail. And
this is Fannie Willis too, right?
yeah, this was Fannie Willis's case. Isn't that crazy?
Not really.
It's not, but like it's crazy to think that like it's the same prosecutor that's going after Trump there, and like imagine the how that case gets resolved. It's like could you foresee Trump getting a plea deal there?
No.
I mean, essentially what Young Thug has to do is,
the case might get thrown out.
it might, yeah, she might get disqualified.
Right.
We'll find out more about that in December. But I just want to point out how crazy it is that Thug just gets to walk away. And he just has to do community service, basically.
Cost him a lot of money to go through that process.
Oh, yeah, it did. And I think that he's probably learned a lot. And he's basically being forced to become a role model.
That's kind of a prison sentence in its own, really. When you think about
I know. I bet all his friends are like calling him up, like talking about like how corny he's gonna have to be over the next 10 years of his life.
He's gonna need to move.
Yeah, but that was. I mean, it's just such a joke. It just shows how much of a joke the Trump case there is.
And he has no recourse. He can't sue Fannie Willis, can he?
Trump? No.
No. Young Thug.
No, he can't sue her. But he did do the right thing by not walking, not just going with prosecutors and like, he pushed up against a lot of their assertions and that. And honestly, I think that the fact that the fact that the prosecution, like the prosecution wanted to enter a plea deal because they realized that that their case was starting to lose a lot, and it was gonna be such a bad reputation mark if Willis like lost any part of this Thug case before Trump ever stood trial, because she would. I mean, her reputation is already tarnished for the relationship that she had with our special prosecutor in the Trump case, that we're just looking at just such a problematic prosecutor, like bar none.
See, how old is he? Jake Paul your age?
No, I don't know. He might be.
Conspiracy Fred Durst.
That's pretty good. Yeah, actually, he is 27.
So he is your age, basically. So he's Gen Z. I mean, if you want to go by the science of it, I guess, or the prediction part of it. So, what do you think the impact is, Kalen? What does that mean to you when you see somebody like Jake Paul? I think it's awesome, but what do you think?
I think it's awesome, but like, I want to get back to the kind of the point of why I wanted to make this video, because in all sincerity, it was just like a way for us. We often on this channel are just like very optimistic. I mean, because for a large part because we are genuinely optimistic, but I do think that a Halloween special gives us a second to talk about, some of the more flip side elements to this, like imagine a bizarro world where people, like all the positivity and momentum that you see on Twitter winds up being kind of like the red mirage that we saw in 2022. Just like imagine, if you will, a scenario like that. I'm not saying it's true or it's not true, but this election is going to be a test for how influential X is, in some ways. And I thought it was very interesting earlier. I looked this up. I typed in the name of our video, Kamala could win, just those 3 words. And I was able to find one tweet that was recent that had cited those words. Let me pull it up real quick. It was from by gunammo.com or whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. It says, hard pill to swallow. Kamala will most likely win this election. I pray to God she doesn't. But the left cheats so bad, I don't see how they can lose.
Why do you sound like a robot, Kalen?
Like the way I'm reading it, or
no, your voice is breaking up as you're speaking.
I don't know.
I don't know if you could hear it. Could you not hear it?
Is it still messing up?
No, it was really bad a second ago though. Go ahead.
No, I can remember. I don't internal monitor. So
yeah.
Okay, so basically, this guy, this account is blackpilling. You're probably wondering, why am I showing you a tweet that has 3 likes? I'll get to that point. Okay, so what did this guy say here? Okay, so yeah, it's a Kamala will most likely win. That was the phrase that got caught whenever I did this search. But I typed in Kamala could win. That seems like it's a fair phrase. Let me type in Trump could win. Let me see how many people are.
I'm going to show you something, Kalen. We're talking about if this is a testament to Gen X. Let me pull this in real quick.
See, it's like if you type in Trump could win, you see people like Josh Hammer saying like, I've seen enough. I predict Trump wins all these states. I mean, there's a lot of serious positivity comments out there for like we could win, blah blah blah. So we have these Trump could win type tweets. But let me finish making this point real quick because it's important.
Sorry.
You weren't even seeing what I was scrolling on. Dang it.
Go ahead.
No. Oh wait. Wait. You could see it, right? You could see what I was scrolling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me bring this back up again. Kamala could win. This guy tweeted 12 hours ago who thinks Kamala could win. So there is that out there. But there's not a whole lot of people like even talking or making the suggestion point that Kamala could win. Too early to call, but I think Kamala Harris could win. So this person just saying it could go either or. My whole point in bringing this up is that there's not a lot of people out there on X that are talking about how Kamala could win. So what if there is a little bit of a confirmation bias on this platform that we have sort of just ignored because it's nice not to have all of the lefty sort of content that we were used to seeing under Jack Dorsey? It's just a thought. It's just a thought, you know.
Check that out.
What is this?
Make it bigger. According to explodinggraphics.com, 58% of X, formerly Twitter, users are under 35 years old. This means that most X users are millennials or Gen Z.
Okay. Well, that's a good sign, at least for the because you would not want that to be, in my opinion, you wouldn't want that to look like, you know, boomers or Gen X majority. You know, that would be a bad sign, you know, because Twitter is so pro Trump and things like that. But I would argue that probably I mean, aside from Facebook, probably every social media is this demographic majority.
The
Facebook,
most important person on X is a Gen Xer.
yeah. Again, I'm not trying to FUD. Next time I come back on here, you're gonna see me, and I'm gonna be like giving my all on my true belief that I think Trump's gonna win. But like I said, this is our video. This is in our catalog.
Spooky scenario.
To go back and talk about the spooky scenario, because I think that if Harris somehow crazily wins, like this would be a good video to go back and reflect on and see what we said in here. Because I think it'll be good for like just post analysis and things like that. But I'm not.
If Kamala is somehow installed, it's not the end of the MAGA movement. That's my prediction by a long shot, because the fourth turning is forecast to continue. MAGA must continue.
It's gonna be like I don't know what it's gonna be like, but I feel like there's definitely gonna be a torch passing. Like Trump's gonna, because Trump even said that he would retire from politics if he lost.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did in a recent interview. Let me see if I can find it. I think he said it on Maria Bartiromo.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't. He's going to be outspoken. He'll be outspoken whether he's sitting at the White House or in Mar-a-Lago.
He said this on Fox News recently.
They're not going to let him quit because they're going to keep trying to convict him. He's not going to have a choice. It's not his choice at this point.
Yeah, but Trump had, well, we might have to save this conversation for another night, but the point, the belief that I've had for a long time, and people might disagree, is that, I mean, Trump had a significant benefit of the doubt to even be the candidate again this time, because so many people sincerely believe that the results of the last election were not legitimate. And I say that, you know, in earnest. So many people sincerely believe that they weren't legitimate, and neither does Trump think they were. So the thing that we saw that was so interesting was that so many people thrust their support again behind the losing candidate from last time, when anyone else who would have done that, Romney, McCain, you know, they would have been like, "You're out, you know, get back to the bench, and let someone else try again." You know,
this is different. I mean, Elon.
It is. It is different.
Elon. He said it. He goes, "I'm effed. I'm going to be effed." You know, he told Tucker that and then laughed about it.
This guy's such a troll. Harris is too base to live.
Well, that's what this episode's all about. Maybe you're right.
Yeah. Well, there was something I was gonna show. Oh yeah, it was last thing we'll close on. I think this is a good closing video. This is the scary reality, is that if Trump loses, who is gonna be our MAGA daddy in the future? Because Trump said it here on Fox News not too long ago. Let me see.
Gothic MAGA, that's who.
The election in November.
If you're not successful this time, do you see yourself running again in 4 years?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that will be it. I don't see that at all. I think that hopefully we're going to be successful.
And this was in an interview recorded on Friday in Mar-a-Lago for the program Full Measure. In the interview, Trump also said he is not.
That was a very specific question. They asked him if he's going to run again. They didn't ask him if he's going to be out there making speeches and talking about MAGA.
Oh, yeah.
That's sure. Completely different.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to run again. And to me, that's like retiring from politics, his political career.
No, not with this movement. Not with... I would completely assess that differently.
Well, I think that it's like, it's going to be sad to me. It'll just be sad to me that we won't, if he loses, that we don't get a chance to have another 4 years of him. Because I really I don't like any of the alternatives. Like, I don't like I don't want to see, like I want to see a Trump presidency. I don't want to see a JD Vance presidency, even though I like JD Vance as the VP. So it's just it's bittersweet to have to imagine a situation where Trump is just like the mouthpiece and someone else has to be the quarterback, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's the coach, someone else is the quarterback. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens, and hopefully none of these nightmares come to life, because this was a spooky episode of the Meme Ranch. So if you liked it, give us a like. I promise we're not always blackpilling out here on normal days, but you know, we cover all bases, and we generally have an attitude that Trump's gonna win, because everything right now, the momentum from the attempts on his life to the fact that people are fed up with everything that's happening in this country, and want to actually be able to afford gas. Those are the things that we think are going to drive people to go and choose him. So yeah. Anything else you want to say, Xpala?
I think I might react to that Jake Paul video tomorrow.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
It was really in depth. I just kind of wanted to give a taste of how he really went to an effort to back his reasoning with charts and stuff like that, because that was we talked about the jump cuts and stuff being like typical YouTubery, but that was the charts and everything that he was showing was like I think
I want to close with one thing for you, Kaylin, because we did focus very macro or very, very, very closely on the politics, right? Mm-hmm. If we look outside of just the politics of it, we look at the culture of it. I mean, you have figures, all the culture is coming from the MAGA memedom, okay? You got Peterson out there, Elon, Tucker, Alex Jones. I mean, look at these personalities that are out there generating culture right now. Just all the heat, all the electricity, all the good vibes, or just vibes, it's all coming from there. So the politics is just one little, it's the tip of the iceberg. You know, they got the whole berg under the water there that's bigger.
Oh, wow. Trump and Tucker are on couches right now talking in Arizona.
Oh, that's tonight. Okay.
Yeah, that was tonight.
I forgot.
Yeah. This is where, hang on.
Nation for that, 2,600 votes. But we found a lot of stuff, but we're seeing to work it out. But think of it, it's hard to believe that I'm winning the election by a lot. Now, we got to keep the cheating down. We got to keep their cheating. I love you too, darling. Thank you. We got to keep their cheating down. But think of this. With all I've been through, with these animals coming and what they've done to this country, how they've hurt this country between the borders and between the weaponization. And think of it, I'm leading by a lot. I'm leading in every single swing state with all of the stuff they've done, where I've spent millions of dollars. I've spent millions of dollars on legal fees. Half of my time is taken up by this. They can campaign. Half of my time is taken up. And they're the dishonest ones. They flip it. They're the dishonest ones. But it's hard to believe. I said to somebody last night, can you believe the numbers came out last night? I'm really leading by quite a bit. Now, a lot of things can happen. Who knows? It flips, maybe. I don't know. But I'm leading by a lot. I said, can you believe I'm leading by a lot, and what they've done to me, that I'm leading at all, that I'm even living, is almost hard to believe. These are bad people.
Wow.
So you've expanded and changed the Republican Party, and one of the amazing things that I have learned is that Republican voters really care about issues I didn't realize they cared about, like clean air, clean soil, clean food. You've won, somehow, the full-throated endorsement of Bobby Kennedy, lifelong Democrat, who's now like a full-time surrogate for you.
He's a very, very good man, too, by the way.
So what's that going to look like after you get elected?
Well, you know, I feel interesting about this kind of stuff. I like to, number one, get elected. I hate to talk to stuff. A lot of people, they set up, I know that even when I ran, Hillary had an office set up where they were interviewing all the, I don't want to do that. I want to get elected first, and then we'll cram a little bit. But, you know, I don't like doing it. No, I remember she set up this big office. They're interviewing people for jobs. And actually, you're supposed to do it. But I want to win. I want to win in 5 days from now. It's almost 4 days from now, right? In 5 days from now.
It is 4 days from now on the East Coast.
When we have a victory,
9 minutes away from 4 days.
Here's the one difference. One big
Ooh,
difference
that's a
between
countdown
now
right
and
there.
2016. I know Washington and the people through testing, real testing, better than probably any human being that's ever hired people. So I went from not knowing anybody and having to rely on, in all fairness, Mike Pence and many other people. I had Mike Pence, and I had others, and they would recommend people.
Well, there's so many ghosts in here. So many
Sloppy
boos.
Chris Christie recommended some people. And I wouldn't have used him had I known. But you rely on people. And by the way, you know, I hate talking about this because we had mostly great people. Think of it. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We rebuilt the entire U.S. military. We defeated ISIS, and we had no wars. We cut more regulations than anybody in the history of the country ×5. And, you know, but we had the best economy in the history of our country. I took in billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. I mean, we had an unbelievably successful administration. We were energy independent. We didn't need anybody's energy. We had so much oil, we didn't know what to do with it. And now take a look. 4 years ago, we were energy independent. Think of it. And today we're taking tar from Venezuela. You know, they don't really have oil, they have tar. You have to heat the hell out of it. Costs you more to heat it than it does to sell it. But we are going to Venezuela. Think of it. Venezuela was like the enemy. We are now giving, you know, I got a kick a month ago, you saw it. They foreclosed on his plane, but they give him billions of dollars. I said, that's okay. He's going to buy a much better plane with the money we give him, right? But we go to Venezuela for oil. We were energy independent. We have more liquid gold, that's oil and gas, under our feet than Saudi Arabia, than Russia. And we were going to be not only energy independent, within 6 months, we were going to be energy dominant. We started off at number 4. And when I left, 4 years later, we were number 1. We were much better and bigger than Russia or Saudi Arabia. Think of that. But we were going to be triple the size of both. And we were going to supply it to Europe. We were going to supply it to Asia. All over the world we were going to supply. We would have made a fortune. But then we had a little mishap with the election where I got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. You do know that. More than any sitting president. The only one that supposedly got more votes, and I wouldn't believe it, was Sleepy Joe Biden, who campaigned brilliantly.
Pause this for a second. There was a clip from this talk earlier that Benny Johnson clipped that Trump was talking about Fannie Willis.
So I have to ask you about the pardons. I keep hearing you're considering pardoning Hunter Biden. Is that true? And if so, why?
This is good.
No, I mean, I've never... look, I don't like the idea of what's happening. I don't like it at all. They've weaponized government, but they've weaponized it against me like nobody's ever been weaponized. The big case was the documents case. We won the case in Florida. We're winning other cases, too. But I've had to devote money and time to this. Instead of running against these stupid people, I had to devote a lot of money and a lot of time, which is what they want. I had Fani, F-A-N-I. To me, it's Fanny, but she said Fani. I think she changed it once she became the DA. She wanted to put a little French accent on Fani.
Dude, I've been talking.
And Loverboy Wade,
that's so funny. Like,
who was hired.
This entire election cycle, I've just been like, I mean, he's been making fun of it for a while too, but like in the office, like it was the immediate thing whenever it eclipsed on us that she was literally asking people to pronounce it Fani, and I just couldn't take it seriously. I had to retake video clips because I kept saying Fanny on camera.
He does it so well. You know, his little comedic touch is so good because he avoids sounding like he's trying to be a jerk, but he still makes it funny.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
For like $1 million because of his expertise in whatever the hell law, RICO. But he never did a RICO case. And then they would take sailing trips like 6 times during the year, 6 times. Who the hell goes away or to sail for 6 times? Nobody. And he got paid a lot of money. He took that money, they took trips. You know, there's a whole thing, but that's just one.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I might write about that tomorrow.
I was going to mention real quick, those new MAGA hats, the gold MAGA hats. I was trying to figure out how big to make it.
Oh, well, we can talk about this off stream, right?
That's what those screenshots were about.
Yes, I think that. Well, I'm going to close out this video. Thank you guys for staying with us as we watched that extra clip. That was we just wanted to get that in because that was happening live. But see you guys next time, and peace out.
Vote.